Hello, YouTube! My name is Scott, and welcome to another episode of Opinions No One Cares About, a video series that tries to go pro despite barely having enough skill to play single-A ball. So I'm sure you don't need me to tell you that the world is going to hell. At least that's how it looks from here in 2023 America. Climate disasters, post-COVID hysteria, the political system, less said about that the better. Not gonna lie, I'm legitimately worried about the world my children are inheriting, because that's all I can afford to give them, but that's another rant for yet another video. Which led me to the question of where to place the blame. If the world's going to hell, who's driving? Because, there's a stairway to heaven and a highway to hell, which kind of suggests that one is expecting more traffic than the other. But I digress. I could go on, in great detail if I let me, about exactly who and what are to blame for the world being the way it is. But this isn't one of those videos where I'm trying to get political. Allow me to offer a different theory. We, as a species, are responsible for the planet being in the state it's in because, subconsciously, we feel bad about not living up to the standards that have been set by pop culture. Now, call me crazy.
You crazy?
You have no idea. I know how this sounds, but hear me out. There are many TV shows and movies that take place in the future, as seen from when they were created, that are the present or near future now, or even the recent past. And we haven't kept up with them technology-wise, even though some of the stuff we have nowadays is pretty great. I mean, I'm shooting this on my smartphone, we have smart watches to match, VR headsets, the beginnings of AI, and so on. And to be fair, there are more than a few looks at dystopian futures. Terminator 2: Judgment Day is one of those rare movies that is a sequel that is actually better than the original. But it's also about a war between artificially intelligent robots and humans that starts off with this scene. Specifically, the robots dropping a nuke on Los Angeles in 1997. I'm sure we're all glad we dodged that bullet. But now that I think about it, John Connor, the hero of the human resistance, was 12 when this happened. Where was he in Sarah's vision? Or there's the movie Alien from 1979, which actually takes place in the year 2122. Now, not to take away from a badass space hero like Ripley, but I think we're all probably glad we'll never have to deal with xenomorphs. Or, if you want to shoot closer to home, there's always Soylent Green, which imagines the futuristic world of 2022. Last year. The Earth is overpopulated and polluted, and the only source of food is a product called Soylent Green, which is made from plankton. Or so everybody thinks. Spoilers.
Listen to me, Hatcher. You gotta tell them Soylent Green is people! We gotta stop them somehow!
Yeah. Thankfully, we're not there. Yet. But while there are a great many dystopias, there are also a lot of positive looks at the future, even if it doesn't seem like any of them are going to happen. Total Recall takes place about 60 years from now in the year 2084. It could be argued that the movie isn't exactly a utopia, because, see what's happening, but it is taking place on Mars, which was colonized long before the movie started, and by the end of the movie, it's getting terraformed, which I think is well worth the cost of Schwarzenegger's head almost exploding. Blade Runner is rather dark, visually and otherwise, but it imagined a 2019 where we had flying cars, interplanetary travel, and synthetic humans to do the work for us on said planets, and other asteroids if I remember correctly. And if they got a little out of hand, well, they only had a 4-year shelf life. And then there's Back to the Future 2, which gave us a look at the futuristic world of 2015 with its flying cars and hoverboards and weather control and hoverboards and cyborgs, shoes with power laces and hoverboards. I'm not saying the idea for this video came about only because 2015 came and went and I never got my goddamn hoverboard, but it might have been a contributing factor. And then, of course, there's the big example, Star Trek. The future described in Star Trek is pretty great. All of Earth's problems have been solved using technological advancement, and now humans are exploring the galaxy and finding all kinds of other problems. But according to Trek history, the first Earth-based warp-capable ship is going to be flown by a scientist named Zefram Cochrane on April 5th, 2063. Now that's less than 40 years from now. Are you going to sit there and claim that we'll be capable of warp travel in about 40 years? I mean, who's going to make that happen? Elon can barely build rockets that don't explode. Bezos only seemed interested in, his giant dick rocket. And I don't know how well the various government space agencies are getting along, despite occasionally hanging out together on the ISS. Plus, according to canon, Cochrane built and flew his rocket in the aftermath, whether recent or late, of World War III, which I'm pretty sure we want to avoid. So yeah, science fiction has given us a great many futures to choose from, good or bad. But it's not likely that any of them are going to happen, and not just because some of them have already passed us by. Because we're all too caught up in our own shit to worry about technological advancement, whether or not it could improve our lives. I think the turning point was the year 2000. Even for someone like me who turned 18 that year, I feel like 2000 was looked to as sort of a benchmark futuristic year. New year, new decade, new century, new millennia. Like, humanity would have gotten its collective shit together by then. Instead, we had to deal with the possibility of all of our computers crapping out on us due to a coding error, aka Y2K. But then came 2001, and admittedly, you say 2001, and I happen to think of this. Now, I will fully admit that I have not seen this movie, but I do know what it's about. Futuristic space travel to other planets. And the possibility of being killed by murderous AI, but there's still a sense of hopefulness there. And the movie takes place in the far-flung year of 2001. But what did we get in the real world instead? I'm sorry if this is triggering for anyone. But I feel like this was the point when humanity realized, barring some miracle, we're not going to get any of these cool futures that we've been envisioning. So we just kind of gave a collective shrug and let everything that's happened since then, happen. So, is it too late to have one of these futures? Probably not. I mean, we should definitely work on fixing climate change before we develop a warp engine, but we can totally do this. We just need everyone in the world to change their way of thinking, devote their time and energy to fixing the Earth and preserving it for future generations. We're fucked, aren't we? Damn it, I just wanted a hoverboard! Hey everybody! Thanks for watching the video through to the end. I hope you liked it. Some of you who may have subscribed after the anti-transphobe video I put out the last time might be a little disappointed, but the thing is, I don't put out videos like that all the time. This is more up my street. Pop culture observations. Hopefully that's enough to keep you around. For the rest of you, like the video, comment down below, share it around if you're so inclined, subscribe to the channel, hopefully. Smash that bell below for notifications for when I put another video up. And until next time, I have been Scott, and this has been Opinions No One Cares About. Everyone has opinions. This one was mine.